All right, we are live once again, coming back at you with the heat. Back with my guys, DP Maximus Crypto, Rule Black in the house. What's going on, guys? How is your week been so far?
What's up, guys? The triple threat, the three amigos, the wolf pack, the trifecta, the cryptos triangle offense, Jordan and Pippen and Rodman. Hey, the terrific trio. We're back in the freaking house.
Too sweet.
Let's go.
I'm glad that Rue's got the energy for me, So thank you for that, brother.
Yeah,
But
he's
yeah,
all docile when we're not live, but as soon as we pop live, he's just like bam. We're like, what's going on here?
Showtime, baby.
you're like Emerald up in there. You're like, bam,
Max, how you been, buddy? I know you've been making a lot of content for your channel, Maximus Crypto. What's going on, man? What have you been covering?
I just I've been taking a different aspect. People are enjoying it, explaining things in a different way, where people can take something that normally was like, oh, this is Greek every time I share it to somebody. But when you share these intros, it's like the feedback I'm getting is people are like, I can finally take something, share it with people that have no clue about this stuff, have it make sense, and then elaborate from there. So that's good. Like if I can create that kind of value, then let's do it. It is a lot more time consuming, but it's all good. And yeah, glad to do it. But man, I've been getting this. I'll be honest, there's been some burnout. Like
Mm-hmm.
really been like we talked about behind the scenes. There's people that I hate to say are lazy, that they stay up all night, sleep in all day, like some teenagers, right? No offense. And I've been staying up all night, getting up early consistently. It's really starting to wear on me. But yeah, it's all good. I welcome it, and I'm glad to be here with you guys. I think we got a lot to get into. A lot of big recent news. A little bit of Ripple, Stellar. Obviously, we got a lot of news updates in regard to Zebec.
Mm-hmm.
No yield on stablecoins. Zebec super app updates. Some big news. I do want to talk a little bit about Lattis. I do think they are a very, very big deal, and they are apparently pioneers in this space dating back to 2011. So we'll talk about some of that stuff. Guys, consider smashing that like. We would appreciate it. If we got to earn it, we will earn it. Thank you for
Yeah,
being
you
here.
got to earn it to burn it, baby. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to talk about it all, guys. A lot of stuff happening this week. What is going on with yield, and what does it mean for the United States becoming the crypto capital of the world? Rue and I were talking about it backstage a little bit earlier. We're going to dive into that as well, but we're going to talk about the Zebec Super App. What does that mean? I got a little bit to talk about in terms, again, like Max talked about, the Lattice partnership with Zebec. I'm going to dive a little bit into that and a lot more, guys, a lot more. So, like Max said, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's absolutely free. It costs you nothing. So consider it, my friends. Consider it. All right. So, Rue, I know you wanted to go first. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. Yeah. So the first thing I kind of wanted to just dive into a little bit. Let's get this kind of out of the way now. Let's talk a little bit about the stablecoin situation and the yield, if you guys don't mind. I'd like to get your opinions on it after talking about it a bit. Let me just go ahead and zoom in on this. So we got this piece here, guys. A lot of controversy going around on X, even over in the Patreon and stuff like that. People are talking about no yield on stablecoins. What does this mean before the Clarity Act even comes? Stablecoin rewards face critical scrutiny as the OCC proposal targets exchange loopholes. So, a significant regulatory proposal now threatens to reshape how cryptocurrency exchanges distribute stablecoin rewards to millions of users. The U.S. Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, their latest proposed rulemaking for the Genius Act, directly challenges industry practices that have flourished for years. This development creates immediate uncertainty for platforms offering yield. Now, we know that this is an issue for Coinbase, and a lot of people were wondering why Brian Armstrong fought so hard or was so against, limiting yield on stablecoins. Was because, I mean, let's face it, a lot of profit for Coinbase comes from staking their stable coins, right? They get yield on it just like everybody else. Does that make them selfish? A little bit, but I mean, if they were to win that fight, well, retail wins too by proxy, right? So it's not that bad of a problem. So I think we're probably going to end up meeting somewhere in the middle. Most likely, we know the banks have been lobbying against, yield on stable coins for, a while now, just throwing money at it left, right, and center. So this could be detrimental to Trump's administration, because if we do settle around 2 to 2.5% yield on stable coins, that's just a hypothesis that I have, right? A theory, a thesis, if you will. Then what does that mean for the United States becoming the crypto capital of the world, like the current administration likes to put out there, right? Not great, because listen, if other countries, El Salvador or Dubai or other countries, wherever, that are already more crypto friendly and have been for longer than the US, are offering 4, 5, 6, 7% yield on stablecoins, how much of that capital, both retail and institutional, is going to go overseas, go offshore? Because if I'm an institution, if I'm a whale, if I've got big money and I've got a ton of USDC, and the US, I'm only allowed to get 2 to 2.5%, but in Dubai, I can get 5 or 6. Guess what? See you later. I'm going offshore, right? Does that make the US the crypto capital of the world? I would argue not. And then you also have these countries that are also crypto tax friendly. And all we've seen lately is the administration talking about being, tax friendly to crypto, but we haven't actually seen anything tangible, right? So these two things, are they daggers to the current administration's robust gloating of making the U.S. the crypto capital of the world? Is it detrimental? What do you guys think? Max, you're shaking your head. Do you have a
Yeah,
thought?
I'd like to chime in. Yeah, I absolutely have many thoughts about this. So, for one, my thing is this: whether people are fans of Donald Trump or not. So, for one, put yourself obviously in the shoes of somebody like Donald Trump. He has gone after many countries, obviously introduced things like tariffs and so on. If you're willing to do things like that, then you are going to recognize, look, why would we want to just give up this free enterprise, this capital, all this capital to other countries, right? So he's ready there. The administration's ready there already when it comes to the concept of we don't want to keep, pardon my expression, sucking the hind tit to China and some of these other countries. So we introduce tariffs. We're not going to take it anymore, but you're going to take it as far as the whole idea of not being the crypto capital of the world. You're going to literally be in the back seat and let this just fly by. I don't think that's going to be the case. Currently, it's going to be the case. And retail and everybody else that's tuning in right now and so on, and being like, this is doom and gloom. This sucks. Of course it sucks, right? But I don't think that this is going to be a permanent thing. That's just my own personal beliefs. People can agree to disagree and so on. I do think that this will come back full circle, no pun intended, when it comes to stablecoins. And we will have a solution moving forward. We have to. Because if we don't have a solution moving forward, for one, it's just constant. It would be nothing but BS, right? If you're going to claim you're going to be the crypto capital of the world, you better, put up or shut up about that, or never use that term ever again, right? And I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he realizes that a lot of his voter base, come on, let's be honest about that, voted him to office because he seems as though he's the crypto-friendly president. And so you do got to deliver on that. If anything, people like David Sachs has to deliver on that. There's been a lot of frustration even from people like, Charles Hoskinson when it comes to that. But does that mean he, as in David Sachs, needs to resign for the position? No, I don't think we're at that point yet at all. But yes, currently speaking, maybe for the next few months, it might not look good, but I do believe that they will have a solution, and it'll be a heck of a lot better solution, personally. If you want to attack me, it's okay, than what the other administration was going to do. So is it kind of a 50-50 split where, it's like, well, geez, yeah, we're kind of embracing some of these technologies, but yeah, we do want to be the crypto capital of the world. Well, it is kind of a 50-50 split. It's almost like a double-edged sword. You can't have your cake and eat it too, but everybody wants all of this. If you're promising this, you better damn well show it up. And in the terms, I saw the whole thing of the, hopefully you guys watched it too. I mean, I know you cross the border up there, that's all right, but a lot of us tuned in for the State of the Union address, and what was the main thing that Trump left on everybody? He left on the whole notion of the golden age, and it's just like, even Rue and myself. I mean, go back to, what was it, day 2, maybe 3? I think it was day 2, 2025, right? January 2025. Trump invites Masanobu, Mas from SoftBank. He invites Sam Altman. He invites all the biggest players, right? And again, that term of the golden age, Project Stargate. So my main thing is, that's all there. Did people forget about all that? And of course, mainstream right now is going to be like, oh yeah, I kind of forget about that. Those things are still being worked on. Heck, even here in Phoenix, even though it seems like there's some bad things going on with TSMC, that's still part of the bigger plan. But again, currently speaking, it doesn't look good. Well, would it look good maybe by May? And that's where the whole debate is, right? Because like, we need to get this in gear now. Time is money. So as the market crashes, what do? Do we buy up all this stuff? Not necessarily bet the whole farm, but my thing is betting on the whole idea that there will be a rebound. I do think America will be the crypto capital world at some point. The world literally wants us to be. Come on, you guys. Let's just be honest. The world, like, go to Europe, go to Asia, go to all these places. Have a conversation with Masa of SoftBank. He literally wants America to be the crypto capital of the world. So the money that was invested, literally $500 billion, that didn't go away. They didn't invest for no reason, but you're going to get a mainstream narrative that's going to look really, really bad, currently speaking, for at least anywhere between now and, let's face it, mid-May, give or take, right? Maybe late April.
Well, I think that the elephant in the room is that people are forgetting that the Democrats, and it's not to make it a political thing. If it was the Republicans, I'd say the Republicans. But before the current administration came into office, all they did was attack crypto. With the midterms coming, the market's looking like crap. I mean, his approval rating being down is losing the midterms going to basically defang him and make him powerless when it comes to getting anything done for the positive when it comes to crypto. Rue, what do you think, brother?
Well, first of all, I think there are ways around this. And Simon Babakani has told us, CEO of Zebec, that there are ways around this. And we have seen ways around this in which World Liberty Financial Markets, through DeFi called Dolo, they offered points. And with those points, you could then take those points, transmute them into another token, and then sell that token. So effectively, they were giving you yield on USD1 by you collecting points and getting this, like, this derivative token. So there are ways around it, right? Because I saw in there, King Pound said, well, won't this affect USD1? Yes, it would. And on that note, the president has his own stablecoin. So you better believe he's going to want this to work out, right? World Liberty Financial is building their own neobank, and as far as we know, World Liberty Financial is partnered with Zebec. So is David Sachs and his Craft Ventures. So all the big players have skin in the game, if you will, when it comes to stablecoins and things like that. So again, we were talking about this a little bit backstage, Rob. Like Brian Armstrong didn't vote for the Clarity Act the second time because of them removing whatever, or at least allegedly, because they removed the yield for stablecoins. So you gotta believe he's still on that same front, taking that same stand right now. But should it happen, I think there will be ways around it, just like the point system. So we shall see.
Yeah, absolutely. There. Shout out to Jetpack. Says, want to be the crypto capital of the world? Let's start with no tax on crypto like other countries always have. Rob, Rue, Max, what it do, baby boo?
Good to see you,
Absolutely, man.
Jetpack Joe.
Shout out to Jetpack. Absolutely, man. He's absolutely right. That is a great place to start. Make it crypto tax friendly because you know what? There are a lot of a growing number of crypto tax friendly countries globally. Dubai, El Salvador, to name a couple. And I remember reading a piece, I was telling Rue about this backstage, that after the 2021 cycle, I think across the US and Canada, something like 90,000 millionaires were created in crypto, young millionaires. And a large portion of them left the US and Canada for countries like Dubai and other tax havens. That is a lot of capital leaving the economy of the United States and Canada, right? And these young people aren't established. They don't have families. They have no roots. So it's easy for them, this generation to just get up and leave if the US is not going to be crypto tax friendly, if they're not going to be stablecoin like yield friendly or anything like that. People will just continue to leave. And you know what? These other countries, people say, well, I've been asked, well, what is a country like El Salvador or Dubai benefit from having no tax on crypto, right? And having these people move there. Well, because all of that money is pouring into their economy. So it over time, it affects, you're going to see these countries like El Salvador become stronger countries financially as a result, right? Of all that capital flowing in. Yeah, Puerto Rico, Philippines, exactly, right? Like Rue says. So the U.S. has to really be careful here when it comes to that because it could be really detrimental to the economy in the big picture with millions and millions of dollars leaving every cycle, right?
I think we should definitely have more of a conversation on that. If you don't mind, I just want to recognize some people in the community.
Yep.
I want to welcome Francisco Dennis Lil. Thanks so much for being here, man. OG in the space. Kareem McCockney, so glad to have you here. Probably didn't pronounce it right, I'm sorry. But Kareem, glad to have you here. Ori the Dream, he's always supporting all the communities. Thanks for being here, man. Yep, almost a Friday, man. Just hang in there, hang in there. And I will read this. Will the no yield on stablecoins just expedite people to use vaults? We're going to get into a little bit of that. I think there's another comment. Somebody else asked that too. I want to thank Dina Sublime. Thank you for being here. Really mean that. Thank you so much. And then let's see here. We the people pay for tariffs, says Press Slide 2026. We the people pay for tariffs. I support it because the companies that left us in the dust should come back. Can't tariff and export. Okay, I respect your opinion. OG, good to see you. I just want to fast track through some of this. Let's jump down to this. I want to thank Warner Bros 4241. Interesting. My grandpa actually worked for Warner Brothers in the early 1920s, believe it or not. He was old enough to be my great grandpa. Anyway, he says, I'm grateful for you guys and excited for the present moment. So should you. My only hope is that we use time wisely and overflow our future blessings to others. Thanks. Appreciate that. Some of you guys are enjoying the space. You do appreciate that as well. Just to get a heads up, Rob, OG Crypto is also a fellow Canadian. Says Canada pushed me out of 4 platforms, not crypto friendly here.
Yeah, there's only 2 provinces in Canada that are crypto friendly. I think it's BC and Manitoba. Ontario is a slaughterhouse when it comes to crypto. It's funny that you can use pretty much any exchange, a crypto exchange in either Manitoba or BC, but you can only use a handful everywhere else in Canada. It's like what? So
yeah, that's really frustrating. Anyway, I don't know if you guys have some comments you might want to read from your own communities. So glad to have all 3 of the communities here. We call it the triple threat. So thanks for being here, everybody. We appreciate you.
Almost 400 people watching, guys. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channels. Absolutely.
Yeah, shout out to the Root Crew here. Shout out to King Pound. Shout out to Moonfeather Rising. I'll be on a live with Mooney tomorrow. Thanks for, and I saw Rob, you showed that. Thank you for showing that, brother. Appreciate it. We got a lot of recruiting here today. Shout out to OG Crypto. Shout out to Onyatsky. Shout out to Silver Days. Shout out to King Pound. Shout out to Pino Q. Shout out to Natwali, the Muskegee aristocrat. I know he supports like multiple channels like Max's too as well.
Oh, well, thank you for that. And Pino, ¿cómo está na? Salamat.
Shout out to Hitter All Day. And if I miss someone, please forgive me. Like, there's a lot of names here. Thank you guys for coming through. Really appreciate you. Jetpack JO, of course, supports all communities. Thank you guys so much for coming through. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, Jetpack, absolutely. We're going to get into some Canton stuff, man. No worries, brother. No worries. AZ Marines sub to all 3 channels. My guy, my dude, thank you so much, man. Zebec's starting to pump. That must be because we're live. It's the live pump effect of our it's the trifecta coming together to pump the Zebec charts, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Chris jumped in that shredder. Chris, thank you so much for your support, brother. It's greatly appreciated, man. Guys, it's especially in a bear market, when bear conditions, when things are down, views are down, and no one's paying attention, it really means that much more when you guys support the channels and stuff. So really, really a lot of gratitude for that. We do not take it for granted at all, right? So
no, we don't. I still laugh, or somebody that said in one of your comments or something like that of oh, you guys must have went on vacation. Are you kidding me? We have to literally put out like 4 times the amount of content to make up for it all. So we are literally working our off on some of this, try to keep people informed, and at the same time trying to keep afloat as well. So the grind is real, and we expect, or we're glad to share it all with you guys, this journey. Anyway.
What's a vacation?
Yeah,
what's a vacation? I don't know what that is.
I wanted to kind of pivot over to the Lattis topic, and Max, I know you want to kind of follow up on some stuff that I got going on here. So
yeah, but by all means, take your time with this. There's no rush, and then we'll get into it, brother.
Absolutely, man. All right, guys. So listen, I wanted to talk just a little bit more about the partnership between Lattis, because I know that a lot of people, they don't really know. Sometimes they ask, like Rue and I made a video talking about the World Mobile partnership with Zebec, because 3 months ago, it seemed like a nothing burger. A lot of people didn't really kind of understand the implications of it, right? And then, now we've got ZebecNet launching, and, it's a game changer, right? So we try to break down the implications of these partnerships a little bit deeper, right? So Lattis, the first network, or neobank, on Canton. You guys know we love Canton. We love Zebec. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this partnership. I just kind of wanted to sum up the partnership a little bit. So the Zebec network recently announced the partnership with Lattis Finance, the first neobank built on Canton, and any connections we can have between Canton and Zebec, I absolutely love, to be honest with you. I'm so bullish on both of these projects. An institutional grade privacy focused blockchain, often linked to regulated finance and capital market infrastructure. The collaboration marks Zebec's first entry into the Canton ecosystem. It's enabling it to integrate its core real-time payments streaming technology, PayFi, right, with Lattis's regulated neobank platform. So the key elements and implications for Zebec are the Lattis card program launch. The partnership introduces the first MasterCard debit card in the Canton ecosystem. It supports native Canton usage, stablecoin funding and settlement, real-time crypto stablecoin payments, custom onboarding, zero sign-up, and reoccurring fees, which is huge, guys. Again, that's another reason that banks don't like these crypto projects, right? Banks want your fees. They want to increase fees, and these crypto companies, like these projects, Canton, Lattis, Zebec, they're eliminating fees altogether, right? That's money in your pocket every year, right? So think about that. That's billions of dollars that the banks could be losing. This bridge, this bridges on-chain assets to real-world spending globally, guys. I've said 100 times, you can keep your USDC on your DCENT wallet, load up your carbon card with Zebec, and you're paying zero fees all the live long day, right? And you can use it anywhere MasterCard is accepted globally. So, I mean, that in itself just eliminates banks and fees and hassles and headaches. So the strategic expansion. Zebec gains access to Canton's compliant, scalable, privacy-preserving infrastructure designed for institutions, tokenized assets, and regulated finance. This positions Zebec beyond retail DeFi into enterprise and institutional-grade finance, supporting compliant on-chain capital markets. And the broader benefits, it enhances Zebec's utility by combining its programmable streaming payments with a regulated neobank layer. This could drive greater adoption for payroll, settlements, and real-world asset flows, unlocking new use cases like institutional tokenized asset payouts, zero friction global spending, and integration with traditional financial rails. And we talk about that all the time. So overall, it's seen as a maturing move for Zebec, shifting from pure crypto payments towards institutional adoption and real-world utility on high-compliance blockchains like Canton. Community reactions, blah, 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 blah. It's a game changer at the end of the day. So that's kind of my summary of this partnership between Zebec and Lattis, combining neobank on Canton. Max, what do you think, brother?
I think it's great. And if anything, let's get into the fundamentals on why this matters to you being a holder, because when you see the terminology neobank, some people don't even know what this stuff means. All right. So basically, it's going to like an online only bank. In a nutshell, that's literally what it means. Also, you have to keep in mind neobanks offer exclusively banking services, online only, without any physical brick and mortar branches. So again, what does that really mean? Well, what it means to me is that you basically have exclusive services to this. Now, we just saw basically Zebec share the whole concept of the super app is now live. You're going to try to tell me that somebody who is a neobank, in this case, what Rob just shared with you guys, the concept of, Lattis, right? And they were not going to have anything that would be exclusive. I think they would have things that are basically exclusive. And I do think this is a very, very big deal. I think, honestly, when we talk about neobanks moving forward and tying in blockchain technology and DLT, to me, that's a more of a bigger deal than traditional finance. Because what is traditional finance trying to do? They're trying to win over, again, some of their traditional clients. But if you have neobanks, on the other hand, they're already there. They're already bought into the whole idea of like Web3 moving forward. So why don't we sign up more neobanks, as the saying goes? That's a very good question. The other thing I want to jump into before I show and share some key detailed documents, et cetera, what the market share of this, okay? So I know the terms of like 2030, for some people that's scary. They're like, oh my gosh, 2030, 6 years. Man, I'll tell you this much. The last 4 years just went by like nothing, at least in my opinion. And the way, yeah, man, it just seemed like I was with Rue talking about, obviously, Temenos on a deep dive, right, bro? I mean,
right. That was 4 years ago.
Right, but it didn't feel like 4 years ago.
Right.
So that's
Yesterday.
my point. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we welcome you guys. Again, we're going to keep telling you this. Consider smashing the like if you don't want to. It is what it is. So listen very closely. Neobanks, from what I gather, is a basic search, right? I don't even need to share a document with this. Just anybody can look this up. Here's why this is really important. Neobanks are projected to capture, you heard me right, up to 20% of the global banking market by 2030. Now, you may feel as though that 20% is nothing. It's a heck of a lot, because we know that we are going from basically $2 to $3, $4 trillion overall crypto market, right, to something huge by 2030. Okay. So if they capture 20%, we'll look at it from like a pie chart perspective, right? You are going to grow in market size. You're going to swell, right? People call that a bubble. But in reality, neobanks, online only banks, and you're going to see more and more of these in various states. Shout out to Rob, maybe in various provinces and so on moving forward, and of course abroad. And then, of course, that's where we're back at the whole mix of, well, can neobanks offer exclusive yield and so on? Great question. From what I gathered also, in terms of revenue, this sector in itself, neobanks, again, like online-only banks, they're expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of approximately 53.4% to 54.8%, reaching a valuation of basically $2 trillion by 2030. Now, again, with the market being down and so on, just off of basic search, just going to CoinMarketCap, currently speaking in today's overall market and so on, you're looking at a $2.33 trillion, overall crypto market. Like the entire market's worth that. So again, the analogy of this swelling in size, that makes sense. All right, now what we're going to do is pull up some things, okay? And the reason why I want to do this is I want to share with you guys why this is all important and why we get into so many things when it comes to all of it, okay? First thing I'm going to share is this Ripple document, and this will make sense. It is, believe it or not, the Ripple protocol consensus algorithm. I don't want to see this. This is a bunch of boring nonsense. I'm out of here. Pump the brakes, pump the brakes. This is from David Schwartz, Arthur Brito. And in this document, you see here that there are several consensus algorithms exist for Byzantine generals, right? The Byzantine fault tolerance algorithm and all this stuff. But when you get into documents, what about other things that kind of match up with Zebec? What about things of other natures and so on? And when I was able to get into this, it linked me, believe it or not, to what Zebec is trying to do based off of patents, et cetera, et cetera. And I think I shared this document with Rue, I believe in person. This is the Zebec white paper version 2. And basically speaking, why highlight this? Well, because back to the topic of what we have at hand, back to the whole thing of no yield on stablecoins, will the Zebec super app be the solution? Listen closely. It says here, page 2427 points out the continued Web3 integrations and global remittances in WageLink app. Man, shout out to the brother Rue. Shout out to the Rue crew in the house, okay? Because how many times did Rue do live videos, live streams, talking about WageLink, right? Probably till he's blue in the face. Probably you guys tired of hearing about WageLink. You gotta hear about it one more time, dang it. WageLink is Zebec's app, which is set to incorporate enhanced Web3 features offering salary disbursement and boom, stablecoins like USDC and facilitating cross-border remittances across multiple cryptocurrencies. I encourage you all to go back, and a lot of people didn't view it, to our Mastermind class series of connections, part 1 through 6. And I believe it's in either part 4 or 6. We put a lot of emphasis on specifically Jeremy Allaire of what he mentioned with the World Economic Forum. Because he pointed out banks are already there. There's no reason why that they can't offer significantly higher yields. So he was saying that basically this whole notion that they can't, in his opinion, is absurd. Then we go back to the white paper, and it kind of makes sense that it is absurd because it says, like USDC and facilitating cross-border remittances across multiple cryptocurrencies, you have a planned expansion that includes direct integrations with leading human capital management systems such as Boom, ADP for payroll, and UKG, streamlining it all through this payroll processes and so on, right? Just in case you forgot that. And it's a multi-chain world. According to Zebec, look at this as well, in their MICA white paper, yes, MICA white paper, they point out a multi-chain wallet integration. It says the network will unify its payroll. So when we talk about unified ledgers with XRP, basically, right? We talk about the internet of trust, the internet of value. When we see this, it's like the unified payroll system, literally. And it says here, this application will support multi-chain wallet integration. We already know about a lot of integrations already with the Quant network through the Overledger. And we know that the Overledger, by definition, has this thing called the Over Wallet. Now, I know we didn't take Quant in this one. We probably should have. But we also found, myself and Rue, that Fireblocks, you have custody with that. We know that Zebec met with Fireblocks literally at Sibos. And we know that the Overwallet is wallet agnostic. So when we see the terminology, how this application will support multi-chain wallet integration, I say to myself, geez, you're going to tell me that you're going to provide a super app that's going to involve all these wallets and nobody is going to earn yield on that? So here's the thing. Now let's come back in the frame on this. We'll talk more about this. We got to talk about this. We know that when it comes to stocks, if any stock usually blasts off, or any particular cryptocurrency, whether it's a bull market or bear market, takes off, usually there's certain supply and demand factors there. Now, I'm not an oracle, never will claim to be one. I'm not a genie, I'm not a fortune teller, any of this thing, but I can put two and two together, and my thing is this. Do you guys, and I'm asking you, you too, right now, and our audience is welcome to join us in this conversation. Let's ask everybody this. If we understand supply and demand, which we do you come to the conclusion that if there's doom and gloom when it comes to stablecoin, bills and acts and so on, that may not make America, currently speaking, the crypto capital of the world, then there has to be platforms that will meet that supply and demand even from abroad. And to me, who leads the charge? Things like Zebec. And we'll get more into this. I will share with you guys two key patents, actually one key patent that ties it all in, where we'll link Canton, we'll link obviously Zebec, and the whole thing at BTCC. But I want to get some of your thoughts on it, because to me, it might not happen right now, but there is direct reactions where this thing could pop off, and it's kind of like a Jasmine moment that we had last year, where it's like, why the hell did this pop off? Well, I don't know, because the whole thing of semiconductors, all of a sudden we're doing a thing in Taiwan, or, this company left Taiwan and went to, obviously Japan. Now, this is a different moment, different use case and so on, but I definitely want to get some of your thoughts on it, because this is the way I personally look at it. And how do we react to it?
Well, the angle that I approach it from is liquidity, right? And what this opens up is opportunity for DeFi protocols, especially to capitalize on low yield coming from the US, because they need that and want that liquidity, right? It's a dogfight over liquidity, really, to determine who's going to survive and who's not in this space. It may not feel like it, but to these, especially these DeFi protocols and some of these centralized exchanges, right? I mean, you go down and you look at, you look at CoinGecko or something like that, and you scroll down to see where everything's listed, and you can see the volume, which exchanges that volume is. That's liquidity, man. That's the flow of money, right? And you can see two or three usually that are the big dogs, and the rest of them are just fighting for scraps. So it provides a lot of opportunity, in my opinion, for sure. What do you think, Rue?
Well, I think it's kind of a combination of what you guys are saying. Like, I think it's a necessity. They're going to need to have people pay by the second. Like, people are not going to be able to survive otherwise. And if you look at things like how AI is taking jobs, possibly you even pay people by the second with UBI either, too, So that's just going to be needed. And then you look at David Sachs and Donald Trump being involved with Zebec. It's a lot of reason to believe the big players, really need this to happen. So regardless of whether they use points or they actually give us yield on stable coins, streaming payroll, it's happening.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry, I wanted to address this, guys, because I seen it and I didn't want to miss it in the chat. because I think it is a good question, right? What do you guys think about the mint and burn tokenomics of Canton? It seems like its ability to go parabolic is contained by that mechanism. My thoughts are that it actually doesn't hurt it. I think it actually helps enable stronger, more sustainable parabolic runs. Canton's burn mint equilibrium ties supply directly to real network usage, right? Whether it's institutional settlements, tokenized flows, fees are burned, deflationary pressures, while new tokens are minted only for adding utility like validators, apps, etc., right? So the target is 2.5 billion Canton burned versus minted actually at a steady state. So I actually think it provides Canton with the opportunity to give us a more sustained parabolic run instead of crazy runs to the upside followed by crazy dumps to the downside. I think it's a little safer. I don't know. You got thoughts on that, Max?
I think you're muted, Max. I can't hear him at least.
There's crazy powers out there that are muting me all the time. Okay. All right. So Presley, all right. I think you're spot on with this, especially with what you said, Rob. So it does create a healthy ecosystem. You know, I kind of look at like the Ripple logo. Even though we're talking about Canton, if you look at the literal Ripple logo, you've seen people where it shows like a dollar bill going in and going out and going in and going out. I kind of look at it like that same perspective, but with Canton, you do want to see a sustainable, healthy, thriving economy over there. And with the mint and burn tokenomics, again, that's important to recognize that some people will flood that and say, well, like Canton, geez, man, I mean, they don't really have a true max supply and so on. But then they never mention the whole thing of the mint and burn. And that is very, very important, especially when it comes to U.S. Tokenized treasuries, right? We understand that's going to be a big deal moving forward. We see so many new integrations, so many new news coming out with Canton, literally left and right. I mean, we just talked not that long ago, all three of us, but not even a month ago, maybe even later than that. I don't know. But when we were in person, we said, Canton, Zebec, it seems like it's inevitable. Rue, you've been covering this numerous times on your live. We did some videos about this, but yeah, I mean, I would agree with the statement that basically it could very well go parabolic. And we've seen Canton kind of hold its value and sometimes even pump while the whole market's down. So glad that you recognize it. Great question.
You got anything to add to that, Rue?
Yeah, if we could, I'd like to go back to the Lattis thing. I didn't get to give my crack at that.
Hey,
I think this also involves Canton in that you notice with the press release, they say that this is just the first part of their entry into Canton's ecosystem. I really think something is going to come later with like the DTCC, where they're doing like instant payments and instant payroll. Like I really, really, really see that. Shout out to Michael Gopi. Yeah, we got to give him his love for sure. Shout out to you, Mike. Got to have you back on the show, man. It was an awesome time, brother. Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Yeah, don't mind, guys. I'm scrolling through some of the comments. They don't all need to be.
Leave that up right there, real quick. Really, that up there. So the lavender lever. I'm a lavender lover as well. Keeps the bugs away, naturally speaking. And I just want to throw this out there. I used to play the heck out Battlefield 5. One of my favorite maps was Province, which is basically this map that's in Battlefield 5. And there was literally acres upon acres upon acres, like literally 500, maybe 1,000 acres of lavender everywhere you go. So while you're having a blast shooting the Nazis and whatnot, right, from a mile away, you're going all over the lavender. And it was so cool, Anyway.
Go ahead, Rue.
Okay, so with Lattice, I think this is going to open up some more instant payment, real-time payment possibilities with Canton. And I think LayerZero is going to be the key to that. So let me say some things about LayerZero, and this is also going to kind of segue us into what I want to talk about Metallicus. And shout out to the Rob Mass community, because last time we had one of these things, you guys were saying, hey, what about LayerZero? What about LayerZero? So I looked into it. So shout out to the Rob Mass Crypto Future community.
Gotta give credit to Ben and Jay Dorn.
There we go. So shout out to you guys, and shout out to our guy 314 Crypto from Zebec Nation. He also assisted with some of this research. So just want to let you guys know, like, I appreciate all of you guys, and I like to acknowledge everybody who helps, like, with the research. So thank you guys for that. So LayerZero announces Zero blockchain to build global market infrastructure in collaboration with Citadel Securities. Citadel Securities, right? You might already recognize them as a partner for who, Max? Canton.
Oh, sorry, I was reading another page. Sorry about that.
Sorry, no problem. All right, no problem. I ain't going to put you on the spot like that. So they're already a partner with Canton, and of course we know the DTCC is already a partner with Canton International Exchange, and with a strategic investment from in Zero from Citadel Securities. And guess what? Also, Kathy Wood of ARK Invest is in this as well. She's also an advisor and an investor. So she's doubly in. So Citadel Securities, DTCC, Google Cloud, and they're saying that LayerZero's 2 million TPS is really going to help. And of course, they're very fast, and that's why DTCC would want to use them. And everybody claims to be very, very fast, but when you got ARK Invest, DTCC, and Citadel Securities on board, well, your very fast might mean more than a lot of other people's, right? And when you look into this, right, so this is just from the LayerZero point of view. Now, when you go and look and you realize that LayerZero is one of the validators for Canton, right? You got that Canton connection there. And as we said before, too, I think Citadel Securities is on this list, too, somewhere. But they're also a validator for Canton. So you
Deutsche Bank.
I'm sorry?
Deutsche Bank.
Deutsche Bank, yep, who's also partnered with Zebec. Another connection. Thank you for that, Rob. Another connection there. But then you now look at some of the investors, right? Zebec investors, including Gemini, right, which is right here, Lightspeed Ventures, and that's enough for now. Now, if we just go over to LayerZero, guess what? We see some of the same investors here. Lightspeed Ventures. Where's the other one? Who did we just say? So it was Lightspeed Ventures and gosh, I just lost it. But anyway, Gemini, where are they? They're on here somewhere. I think I just lost them. But another one that I see on here that Max covered, which is Animoca Brands, who is also an investor on Zebec. So you see all of these guys kind of getting together here. Where's Gemini on this list? I know they're on this list. I just must have missed them somewhere.
You could always do a Control F.
Okay, yep. There we go. Okay, there they are. Gemini. Okay. So Gemini, and then okay, we even see Justin Sun here, who we know is invested in World Liberty Financial, and also an advisor with World Liberty Financial. Quite the list of investors here with LayerZero. And if you want to get even deeper, we know Andreessen Horowitz is invested in Coinbase Ventures, and Coinbase Ventures is also an investor in Zebec. So we got a lot of different LayerZero, Canton, Zebec connections here. Now, let's segue into the Metallicus news, in that Metallicus has deepened their relationship with FedNow. Okay? The Federal Reserve Financial Services, FedNow Instant Payments. Metallicus expands FedNow services capabilities with the request for payment certification. Okay. And they say Metallicus was previously certified with the send, receive, and liquidity management through the FedNow services. With addition of request for payment, Metallicus now enables credit unions to initiate real-time, get it, real-time, biller-presented payment requests directly through the FedNow instant payment rail, unlocking improved cash flow, faster settlement, and enhanced member experiences. So now they're enacting instant payments for credit unions, right? This reminds me a lot of Zebec, and I've said it a lot of times where I think Metallicus and Zebec have something like some relationship themselves. But what this reminds me a lot of is NatPay and NatPay Now, in which NatPay Now, they can instantly pay someone, and NatPay is the only payroll processor, of FedNow, and they're partnered with Zebec. So could we see something very soon with Zebec and the DTCC and FedNow kind of directly? I know they got this conduit and they shown us this conduit and then how it goes, NatPay Now, FedNow, ACH, Swift. But maybe they announce something here like Metallicus did where it's more direct. But it sounds exactly like what they're doing with NatPay and NatPay Now, where they can directly pay via NatPay Now. So pretty interesting. I think this Lattice is just gonna, provide more to come from Zebec and Canton. Maybe even something where they have some type of direct or instant payment with the DTCC. We shall see. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Yes, but I don't know if Rob wants to comment first.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
All right, so yes, I do have some things I want to comment in regard to that, but I kind of want to piece it together for everybody to make it more, I guess you could say, comprehensive. So I wanted to come back full circle on this real quick. Let's read this. D-Rock, will Canton be private? Oh, okay, just kind of fast tracking through this. I see it as a soft initial public offering. Okay.
I don't think so personally. I don't know. You're
All
muted.
right.
What do they mean by that? Will it be private?
And that's why I said I don't really think so. They started off for institutions, right? They just recently started going after retail, right? So I mean, maybe that part of it's already passed. I don't know.
They say it's like the way they describe the demo is like permissioned privacy. I don't know what you mean by will they be private.
The thing is this, Canton has already been private, technically speaking, for 10, 15 years, give or take. They finally went public recently with their offering, right? Mm-hmm. So I would have to get a little more clarity on what you're referring to there, because for the longest time people were like, well, Canton only does the private side of blockchain and DLT, but now we see it's public and private. So kind of would want some clarity on that one, but thank you for your comment. Oh, well, thank you for that. We do appreciate you.
What else do we have?
God bless you too, man.
LayerZero, heavily overlooked. Yes, absolutely. Hey, Max, awesome to see you, my friend. Love from Australia.
Yeah, I see in the comments a lot. Thank you so much for your support, especially on those recorded videos. It means a lot.
Look who's here. River's in the house.
Hey, River the OG. If we could see Blackwood as well, right? That movie Step Brothers. I always joke around, I'd be like, every time we see those two, it's like the Step Brothers, right? Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. But good to see at least one of the two Step Brothers. Hey guys, happy to catch you live. Yep, happy to see you, man.
Paul, good to see you, buddy. D-Rock says, with Canton being available on exchanges, it's open to everyone to buy, but They're calling themselves a private network. How does that work if they're open for all to buy?
I think it's a confusion of the terminology, basically, is where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were citing how they were very, very private as far as documentation. So that gets overlapped to retail, as in, hey, I don't understand this. I thought you guys were, trying to buy a public coin. It's not even a token, they're a coin. And you guys are a private network. It makes sense what you're saying, but it's just the terminology is not quite there. And a lot of people in the community, I hate to say it, they'll share a lot of old documentation. Like I myself, right? I've known about Canton literally, 2022, but they were 100% private at that time. They didn't have any, you can't buy. It'd be like, hey guys, we know about finality. I'm really bullish on finality. Can't buy that. Can't go out and buy that coin. That doesn't exist. But if finality came out, get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think that what people are missing is like, okay, well, they have the permissioned privacy where it works for institutions where not all of what they do is going to be published on a ledger. And that makes sense, right? If institutions want to use this to do payroll and do some of the things that they want to do, they're not going to want all the information to be private. Even though it's out there that you can buy the token, the information, they're not going to want all that information on a public ledger for everyone to view. They're just not going to.
Yeah. Well, then helps that they got the whole ZK knowledge proofs going on, right? So.
Yep, 100%. Max, I don't know if you wanted to kind of take that one from Jetpack. You're the ISO guy. Well, I guess Rui are too. But
I feel like we're all over the map. That's all right. So do you guys think Canton Network complements ISO tokens or brings other? Yeah, I already answered that in the comments, but that's okay.
Okay.
No, that's already been debunked. Basically complements it. You're not competing with real-time gross settlements. It's a different use case, and that's
correct.
That's something that's been constantly brought up, and people they'll still mention that. They'll be mentioning that, guys. Let's just be honest. People are going to be mentioning this probably for the next 2-3 years. It's just going to come up out of random. It is what it is. If you guys want to see an excellent video breakdown about that, even check out Jesse, Apex Crypto Insights. He brought all the documents. If you just want to see a video that's going to get quick to the point and answer all that, it's right in there. Literally goes on like a nonstop alpha. I'll be honest, but he just shows you documents. One thing to talk about, like, hey, here's my thoughts. I'm more of a document guy. If it says in the documents, and you can see that, Ripple with XRP, on-demand liquidity, we're going to dominate, obviously, just that liquidity and real-time gross settlements. And you see another one that is complementing a system and is more focused on U.S. tokenized treasuries. Yeah, they have a connector with literally it's called the global synchronizer that plugs into Swift, but isn't that more of a niche for privacy? And so on and so forth. Again, some people are in other communities are going to say no, and they're going to focus on it. Why are they focusing on it? Maybe because they're building a community, and they don't want to hear any other amount of research and so on. It is what it is. Me personally, I cannot stand tribalism. I think it's so silly that the whole idea that we have camps are like rah rah rah. It's only me. I'm an investor in all this stuff. Back to what Rob always mentioned. If it can make me money, that's what I'm interested in. Being this whole thing of like I'm part of a club or a fraternity. I mean, technically we all are, right? And we welcome so many people from so many communities, but we could also get stuck in our own way, right?
Yep, absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, segueing into the next part. Who wants to? Max, did you have more?
Yeah, and I know that you got to wrap it up soon, so I'll make it quick. So I wanted to share that document and connect this, to complement what Rue was sharing and a little bit of what you were mentioning earlier, Rob. Let's give a quick shout out to Cool Cat Crypto. Good to see you here. OG in the space. All right, let's pull this up. So for one, how do we have it all connect? Well, we're going to share a document. As Rob pulls up the document, you're going to see literally this, and it comes straight from patents.google.com. It's important get into this. Us as in the triple threat, if you want to call us that, with some announcements that we're going to make in the future. I know, Rue, you don't like me mentioning George Daniel Doney, right? He literally bores you to death. I promise I
What?
won't.
No,
Well,
I don't. Come
well,
on.
it's
Come
all right.
on.
No, fair enough. He probably bores me too. But I promise you, brother, we will not play a
How
video of him.
dare you?
Right. Yeah, you don't have that Prime to ready to go this time anyway. So we won't play a video of him because he can be pretty boring. But anyway, you see George Daniel Doney of the DTCC there, okay? It's the whole idea of systems, methods, storage media for managing digital, liquidity tokens. A distributed ledger platform. Notice how it says digital liquidity tokens. It doesn't say digital privacy tokens. Now, is this a jab on Canton? Of course it's not. I'm just pointing out what I see here. As we jump down into the actual patent, we see here basically in this figure 17 of an illustration where you have obviously nodes, et cetera, but I always find it interesting how they specifically point out both Ripple and even Stellar distributed ledger technology systems to be available in a nutshell. Okay, that is important to point out because again, why do we mention all this? Well, it's the assignee of the DTCC, as you see here from Mr. Doney. So if anything, Dan Doney, he goes by Dan Doney, not George Daniel Doney, right? You see here basically the status is pending, but again, assigned to securrency. We've covered this, myself and Rue. You can check out our deep dives and so on. But again, this whole topic of DTCC. Now, here's why this is all important. We jump into the recent news from Zebec about the super app, which is huge news, right? About how you have payroll for individuals now available, built on Zebec rails, powered by Circle's USDC, utilizing ZBCN for fees. Again, fees. I mean, if anything, like gas. Mobile consumer version enterprise grade app will be released in the coming weeks. Everybody's so bullish on this. Has 500,000 views, and rightfully so. I meant to share this earlier, so I'll share it again. I think I shared it with my mobile phone, and sometimes it just doesn't show up right when you switch to the desktop. Anyway, back to the whole thing of Zebec and Lattis. Zebec partnering with Lattis Finance, the first neobank built on Canton Network. Again, if you're just tuning in, by definition, a neobank is what? Like an online-only bank. Again, to me, online-only banks, to me, seem as though would make more sense to embrace more neobanks than embracing traditional finance if you want to have what I refer to as utility in motion, because they're going to be more on board with the whole notion of like future Web3 applications, or if anything, the ones that are literally being built now, in this case, a super app. This marks Zebec's entry into the Canton ecosystem, bringing real-time payments, card infrastructure to it all. All right, so why do I want to point this out? Well, let's point out Lattis. Seriously, it's the first neobank on Canton. 50,000 plus on the wait list. All right, so they have a wait list, and if anything, their website is literally called lattice.cash. Now, the terminology is very interesting here. They pinned on February 23rd, Canton Network has the institutions. I couldn't agree more. Now it gets its first card, partnering with Zebec to bring the first MasterCard debit card to the Canton ecosystem. All right, why do I want to mention that? Let's come back in the frame. Let's have a discussion on it. Come on, let's go into this for just a brief bit. I have shared on Maximus Crypto numerous times. I think I've done it even with you guys. I shared that Canton is a participant in the United States regulated settlement network and also the RLN. Again, I point out this is from the U.S. side of things. And that's important because if I'm going to talk about Quant Network being a network of networks, why am I not looking into Canton? That's one of the main selling points for me when I covered Canton very, very early, dating back to technically from the private side, I think it was late September, and then got into it roughly 7 cents. So many people covered, right? Get in early on these plays, guys, in our Patreon communities, really. We call a lot of great projects very, very early. All right, so in the diagrams, I showed everybody the USRSN, showed you guys proof of the Swift connector. Literally, it says a Swift connector with Canton to US tokenized treasuries, and right there, side by side with Broadridge, if you're familiar with that, we see MasterCard. Do you find it interesting? Back to you, Ru, this term you use. Does it behoove you? You think I don't pay attention because you always say that. Does it behoove you? Do you see MasterCard? To me, it doesn't behoove me at all, because MasterCard was also a participant in what? The United States Regulated Settlement Network settlement. Again, go back to what we shared earlier when it comes to liquidity. Because when you do that, you will come full circle in the whole notion and idea about the systems, the methods, the storage, the media, the management, the digital liquidity tokens. And to see Ripple mentioned in the same breath with DTCC, and also Stellar mentioned the same breath with DTCC, I think it's profound. Now, why get more into this? Well, here's why. When we get into it all, we'll take you to lattice.cash, and again, they have early access to this. They have a wait list. And again, they point out first neobank built on Canton, institutional grade blockchain, instant atomic settlement. Now, again, back to this whole topic of settlement. By definition, atomic settlement means all the transactions go through or none of them go through. That's the quick definition. You're more than welcome to nerd it out if you want. But again, on and off ramp, spend anywhere, earn rewards. Boom, earn rewards. So again, is this coming all full circle? It is. No pun intended. It literally is, because if we're going to have problems in the United States of not being the crypto capital of the world, I'm going to look to the platforms that are going to have first movers advantage in light to meet basically supply and demand of what? Rewards and so on. And again, if anything, before you wrap it up, I want to point out these two guys who are pioneers in the space that nobody even knows basically who they are. Building the future of banking. We are building the first neobank backed by an institutional accepted blockchain, bringing institutional grade financial products to everyone. Patrick Hale, founder and CEO. It's important to highlight him. He consulted Sterling Bank, and how about this, 7-Eleven. I'm still an OG when it comes to 7-Eleven. Go down there, get my big gulp, get my Slurpee, right? Some of you guys go down and you're like, want to reference Simpsons up in the mug and literally be like, let me get a squishy or whatever. I don't know, call it whatever. I'm still going to 7-Eleven to get myself the Slurpee. And sometimes I'll say, hey man, I want to get myself a squishy. And the guy laughs at me. I also find it interesting that this guy has consulted Toyota. It kind of makes you wonder if some of these guys recognize projects like Jasmine and stuff, right? And again, serve Fortune 500 plus financial institutions. But again, if you get really into it, early Bitcoin investors since 2011. So these guys, with their backgrounds, they're kind of like pioneers. Even Zoomies. I remember wearing Zoomies back in middle school when I had to have a different outfit for all 30 days of the month, which is silly at this point, right? But when you're in middle school, it's like, I don't know, that was my thing, right? I wanted to really have kind of a hip hop look and whatnot. It is what it is, but find it interesting, Zoomies. Now there's another guy, Zabir Hussain, co-founder and CTO. So again, is this guy kind of like the David Schwartz of basically Lattice? He is. 15 plus years blockchain infrastructure. Do you find that interesting? As by definition, Canton has been around for about 15 years as well. All right. Look what it says here. Founder ordering Bitcoin UTXO. We've studied UTXO many times. Built Bitcoin's infrastructure, handling millions plus daily API requests. Deep expertise in institutional grade systems architecture. So you have two guys here that literally are pioneers, experts in this field. I think that's important to share. And last but not least, back to this whole thing, again, just in case you're new to this, what is a neobank? It is a financial technology company that offers banking services, exclusively online without any physical brick and mortar. We are entering into a phase, may not seem like it right now, where we're going to be 100% online. And what would that mean? Like it says, what percentage of banks will be neobanks by 2030? I mean, I know this is Google. We could check out numerous sources. But I do find it interesting that neobanks are projected to capture 20% of the global banking market by 2030. And that is a compound annual growth rate of 53.4%. So again, go to CMC right now. Go to go to CoinGecko. We are roughly at $2.5 trillion due to current market conditions for the entire crypto market. Well, we're betting on all this, right? So if we're betting on all this innovation to eventually come through for us and set us free for the rest of our lives, I can respect when Zebec has integrated these technologies with something like Lattis, who is basically a neobank, because it tells me, again, the whole thing of supply and demand. Let's come back in the frame on this one. We're basically speaking, we recognize that you're going to capture a market share of it all. And if you do that, that's big in itself because it lays down a clear framework moving forward where maybe it's not all about the yield on stablecoins, it's rewards. Would rewards be a loophole? So instead of people earning stablecoin rewards, would they do a loophole? Hear me out. I could be wrong on this. Would they do a loophole where you get paid actually in some of these tokens instead? And that's the whole trick. Is that what we want moving forward? I don't think so. I think people want stable coins because they want what? A stable value, but all of it's interesting. I want to get some of your thoughts before we go.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, man. And they have to be, the thing is, they have to be trusted stable coins at the same time, right? You're starting to see so many companies coming out with their own stable coins and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you're going to have just a handful, I believe, that are going to be your go-tos that you can really rely on. How many coins have we seen depeg, right? And it's just, that is so, I cannot stress how important that is, right? A lot of people have gotten wrecked on stable coins because it drops from, like what happened just recently on October 10th with Binance, right? That stable coin depegged down to like 60 cents, and it just liquidated so many people and just cascaded a whole thing, right? So when it comes to stable coins, we do need a lot more tighter restrictions. We do need a lot more oversight, and we need a lot more trust when it comes to them as well, right? I think your big winners, obviously, Circle, USDC, probably, unfortunately, Tether's, what is it, USD what?
Oh, you're talking about USTA that we covered not too long ago? Yeah. Most people don't realize that, right? Like, we cover that, and most people don't realize that Tether actually has, as we speak, an institutional, regulatory compliant coin in the making. And of course, I mean, I get it, right? You only get your news from so many different outlets, but we've discovered, like, why is SwiftCoin highlighting this? And then we find out, oh, this makes sense. Let's check out the Zebec side of things. It's like, geez, I remember doing that video with you guys, and it was a big deal.
And by the way, let me share something on that. Am I sharing my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
You see this guy, JV? Yep. He's growing Zebec. He's like he's involved in their marketing. Guess who he's following? Let's scroll and mosey on down here. Besides following the DTCC, which that's part of the reason why I think we're going to get some more from that. He's also following
Jeff Spicoli.
USAT.
Nice. Nice. Great find. Appreciate it.
So I think we see more from that. And kind of to piggyback off of what you said there, Max. Shout out to my guy, ZBCN, man. I was on the Zebec Nation podcast. Definitely go check those guys out. But he has something here where he was talking about on their roadmap, right underneath Stellar and XRP, they have continuous white label products for ecosystems, right? And this thing that they're doing with Lattis is probably going to be a white label thing as well, in which they white label their payroll system and put it on their neobank, on their neobank platform. So now they can do streaming payroll via their white label product. Well, we know other neobanks like Facet that they've hooked up with, also ADI Chain, and of course, World Liberty Financial is going to have their own app in which they'll white label. Zebec will white label for that as well. So they're hooking up with a lot of different neobanks, including having their own super app. And I think the future is very, very, very bright based off of all the information that we presented tonight and more on all three of our channels. Guys, like, it's just looking really, really good.
I would
Sorry,
agree. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm just looking something up for a question here. One of you guys got a super chat here on the screen.
That's for Root.
Okay,
For one,
does SHX having only 6% circulating bother you, any of you at all? Well, understand that 60 billion of that is in escrow. So they're following the same plan that Ripple kind of followed, in which they put a lot of their supply in escrow. And I think that's going to lead to big price movement at some point for SHX, because what are they going to use that escrow for? For XRP, I think, or allegedly, they've used some of it for, paying people like XDC, right? For XDC to create what they needed to create with Corda. What is SHX going to use their escrow for? And I think it's really going to lead to big price appreciation for them. Any opinion, guys?
well, I looked it up, and apparently over the next 2 years, Stronghold's only going to be releasing about 24% of the supply into circulation. That's an average of 12% a year, which, I mean, I don't have my calculator on me. I don't know what that equates to monthly, but it's negligible in my opinion.
I wonder if that has anything to do with what they're going to do with the escrow, because I know like what Ripple does is they buy most of it back. They do release some out from the escrow, but most of it they just buy right back up.
Yeah, so what I have here is over the next 24 months, to answer your question, theoretical max supply, 24 billion, 24% of the supply, but due to the rolling escrow mechanism and ecosystem use like rewards, liquidity, the real addition into circulation is far smaller, likely in the low single digits over the next 2 years.
Yeah. And I know like people always accuse like Ripple of dumping. Like I see someone says like SHX dumping and coin distribution bothers me. Most of it Ripple buys back up, and it didn't stop. Ripple's price still went to like what, $3.60 something cents, and it'll probably be higher now that they're in all of these ETFs, and you got companies like Evernorth around, right? So
Well,
I don't think it's something too much to worry about, in my opinion.
well, let me just throw this little, idea out there. When you talk about Ripple, so Ripple unlocks what, 1 billion tokens at the beginning of every month. They usually only sell off, I don't know, an average of about 100, 150 million, right, for operations, and then they lock the rest back up in escrow every month, right? So when you think about it, people say, well, I hate that. Okay, I understand that. But at the same time, they use that to stay in operation. So isn't it healthy for Ripple and XRP in the long run that, because a lot of companies don't have that benefit of being able to sustain bear markets, for example, financially, whereas Ripple has the benefit, uh, and by proxy, XRP has that benefit of staying strong throughout bear markets, right? Even though you'll see sell off and you'll see it go down into a bear market like everything else, it's not going to go to zero like some projects and some companies that end up going bankrupt, right? And you have to unlock tokens to stay. I mean, they do that to stay for operational purposes, right? They don't do it just to go to the strip club, So I mean, they're not doing it
you,
to pop bottles or anything like that. So
you know what? I think it's for operational purposes, but I think also like I know there's like I don't think, or allegedly I don't think you can do like a 51% attack on it. But what if, well, we think what we think Ripple is used for is for the central banks, right? They don't want someone going out and buying up all that supply. So instead, they keep it in escrow. So no one can go do that. They can't do it.
yeah. Yeah, and people make the argument that XRP is centralized because Ripple has that much in circulation. But yes and no, they can't unlock the entire thing from escrow and dump it, right? So the implication there that they could do that is not founded in fact. So Max, it looked like you got something to throw out
Well,
there.
I was just going to throw this out there. I mean, it's a theory. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I did kind of visit this to a sense. Um, I would encourage everybody, if you are wanting to do this, to go to this video. So flipping the switch with XRP and others exposing the Federal Reserve. I believe it's Tammy Camp's interview. So as you see on the screen, let me just zoom in. This was where it says crypto assets, how are they being used to make payments on blockchain? In the panel, you have Jesse Lund from IBM. So he's representing WorldWire, literally. You have Tammy Camp from Stronghold, Jed McCaleb, and then you have Michael Warner from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. In this, from beginning to end, I'm trying to show like all sorts of people from blockchain DLT, mainly like Ripple, Stellar, Stronghold, you name it, specifically mentioning things about like the Federal Reserve and whatnot. But what's interesting is what Tammy Camp has to share. So she's right there. Now, Rue and I have covered this in the past, where basically, and we'll come back in the frame. Let me unshare this. So we have covered, both myself and Rue, the whole topic of Stronghold USD. I know Rue's into like symbolism. I have been lately too, right? Literally in the white paper, it literally looks just like the Rising Phoenix. Maybe they did that on purpose. I would say that one looks more like the Rising Phoenix than any of them. If you want to point out, like, does it look like the one from the Economist magazine? In reality, I guess it really doesn't matter, right? Because these are all things post that time, clearly. But again, there's Stronghold USD. So why in the world are you having an interview with people like Michael Warner of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco? Well, it makes me wonder, because for one, we know that Stronghold, you have that relationship with Ripple and Stellar. We know that Stronghold is technically part of the, still is, the Stellar ecosystem. Now we know they're kind of independent from that. But again, back to the topic of escrow. When we look more into Stronghold, you see basically, I know people get tired of mentioning this, but like Nacha, you see obviously like FedNow. So were there meetings years ago to prepare for potentially kind of like what we're talking about in the comments? My thing is, I think the answer is yes. And I think that basically Stronghold is preparing for what Ripple is looking to do, basically like with RLUSD, but from their own perspective, their own side of it, through Stronghold USD. Stronghold USD hardly ever gets mentioned. But when you look into the fundamentals of it all, deep into it, you have something there. So does that mean tapping into escrow to do some things with FedNow? I don't have all those answers, but I would encourage you guys, watch the interview, draw your own conclusion, because I would like to hear some feedback from you guys. Maybe you feel like you got the smoking gun on you know what, geez, man, like we should look more into this and so on. But Stronghold is obviously going to focus on the use case, focus on what new partnerships they have, everything moving forward, especially with remittances, et cetera, et cetera. But again, great findings when you get really deep into it, because again, Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, they're all in the same room. They're all talking about this new stuff. And also talking about, I think Jed McCaleb said some key dates like 2040 and beyond. It's going to take a while, but already you see the common ground, even with Zebec. You see Zebec and Nacha. You see Stronghold and Nacha. I see sometimes people like they'll laugh in the comments. They'll be like, "Oh, there's nothing there with Zebec and Stronghold." I didn't say there was. There's common ground though when it comes to Nacha, and of course the whole thing of NatPay. We've been over this. Look at that video. Just watch it. That video in itself. If you don't want to watch the rest of it, go to, I want to say, the 38-minute mark. But if you really want to listen to the whole thing, go to the 32-minute mark and watch that to roughly the 46-minute mark. And if you don't have all the time in the world, turn up the speed. Listen at 1.5x, listen 2x. You'll get the point.
Yep, 100%. Root, looked like you had something to. You have any final thoughts, brother?
I was just gonna say, Tammy Camp was at the the World Economic Forum, for the first time this year. If you just listen to some of the things that Tammy Camp has said in the past, it's clear that there's a bigger picture. If you look at some of the things that Mind Crypto has posted on X, where there might possibly even be a SHX ETF in the works, right? There's just so much. There's so much there, like where there's a smoke, there's fire type of deal. And just from what Max showed, Tammy Camp's on stage with the San Francisco Fed, right? And Jed McCaleb and everybody else like that. You don't get in the room with those guys, and you don't get in the room with the World Economic Forum unless there's something going on there, right? So
Absolutely. I mean, that's my key takeaway too. Just look at it for you guys to self. And that was supposed to be a closed door meeting. Somebody recorded that. I'm glad somebody did, because it tells me that there is a bigger picture going on. I would encourage everybody to watch the whole video. I even tie in Hedera. We have Charles Hoskinson from Cardano talking about some of his thoughts. Again, it's exposing the Federal Reserve in that video, which sounds crazy.
Yeah, I'm big on HBAR too, by the way.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of add as well, guys, make sure you're getting over to our Patreon communities. We have just been absolutely destroying it in our trading groups. As you can see, I mean, 743%, 514, 469, 103, 319. Guys, it just keeps going. 207, like, just been crushing it. We got great leaders, 743. It just keeps going, guys. So get over to the Patreon communities today. The links are down in the descriptions. For me, you can book coaching calls, whether one-on-one or group calls. We got Patreon lives. We've got microcap gem hunting and so much more. Max and Rue, I know you guys are doing open mic nights and Patreon lives as well. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
yes.
And I'll go ahead, Rue.
No. I was gonna say just yes. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, from my end, I'm trying to find a key date to just make it like a regular thing. I do want to do, obviously, some of the things that Rob and Rue are doing, where it's kind of more of a community side, where you have open mic to, talk about stuff with the community instead of just me on screen. You already get enough of me on screen anyway, but that is something that I want to point out. If you could highlight that, I do want to welcome Presley 2026. I know you had to get going. Maybe you already went to bed, but thank you so much for choosing to join the Maximus Crypto YouTube community. It means a lot. Thank you so much, and you have a great night, sir. Thanks for joining. Hope to see you again soon.
Yep, absolutely, guys. So jump aboard. Like I said, the Patreon communities, gem hunting. Guys, if you don't know how to trade, we have great leaders over there as well, tutorial videos, the whole 9 yards. Get the education that you need to succeed in this space. I'm also doing a series where I'm making all of my whole portfolio. I'm putting out there for the Patreon community every time I buy, every time I sell, whenever I take profits, moon bags I create, and so much more. I do a video every single day tracking all of my buys. So if you want to follow along, you got to be a part of the community.
That's transparency. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, go ahead, Rue. I know you want to chime in. Go ahead.
Oh no, I want to finish. I want to finish this sucker. I want to bat clean up. No. You go ahead. You go first. I'm batting clean up.
Oh, he's gonna drop something. Batting down the hatches.
All I'll say is, there's a lot of new people who just joined. Thank you for joining. Maybe you're not the type of person who comments a lot or at all. You're just here to listen. We appreciate everybody, whether you're active in the comments or not. All I can say is try not to be emotional. If this is your first time into crypto, again, people can get emotional about some of the stuff. Don't come into this having an attitude that you just want to get into crypto to get rich quick. I'm treating it all like 8 to 10 year plan because, I'm not into this personally. I understand that people have other means of getting into things, right? Maybe there's some people in their 70s or 80s and whatever the case be, right? Like you feel like you don't have that much time. But for me personally, I'm treating this like 8 to 10 years because I don't want to just make a few $1,000s. While there's nothing against that, I'm looking to this to build generational wealth and so on. And we're not even close to mass adoption. But we can reference what we see in key documents, because let's face it, on the mainstream news, they only cover two narratives. And that is big flash crashes where everything is up. They will never share with you the use cases. And normally they'll only share with you like Bitcoin, and maybe a meme. And that's about it. Or like I covered even on the Patreon, I shared with you guys in the Patreon community. I was just like, what was it? This guy that did a Ponzi scheme for over 300 and some odd $1 million in his investment group, and basically stole all that money. And of course, every local news outlet and national outlets, they're going to report on that. Are they going to tell you about the use case of something like Ripple with XRP or Stellar with XLM or Zebec payroll by the second or Canton US, tokenized treasuries, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? No, nobody's going to talk about that stuff. So as a result, independent journal. Yes, we will. Independent journalism for the win. That should be the key word if you listen to the end today. I know who's got something, but for my guys, hopefully all of us, type into the comments if you listen to all of this, and that is independent journalism for the win, because that's what we're doing.
Nice. Very, very spirited thing there, Max. Of course, that's all by design. I feel like with the news, of course, they'll talk about, Hawk to a coin and, Daddy coin, and they'll tell you when they fall, right? Because, they talked about them and they spreaded all the words about these meme coins. And they'll tell you exactly when they fall, but do they mention daily anything about Zebec that's changing payroll? Payroll, a very simple thing for everyone to understand, to get paid, right now, streaming payroll right now. Nope, they don't talk about that. But yeah, another triple threat day. Three amigos, the Trace Amigos, the
Dunking on
Wolf Pack, the trifecta, the triangle offense. We're signing off here. Apparently, I'm Rodman now, Rob. Apparently, I'm Rodman now, and you're Pippin, and Max, you're Jordan. I guess I'm the crazy guy. Rob looks like the enforcer to me, but hey, that's okay. I'll take Robin. Yeah. So yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, those are some nice compliments.
Members of the Coin Vault signing off, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, the Coin Vault, the subliminal messages that you may hear about later. Dun, dun, dun.
And we'll leave you on that, guys. Coin Vault. Like and subscribe. God bless.
God bless.
Peace.